Albright. Lee Keener.
On me.
Dick Lay. Curtis Snell.
Here.
David Thornton. Kara Cowan Watts.
Oh, honey.
We do have a quorum.
All right, thanks, Shelley. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve, yes, Councilman
Chair.
Baker.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we add Councilors Harley Butler and Janice Taylor to the committee.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. All right, congratulations, Harley and Janice. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes of August 12th, 2013.
I make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Approval of minutes passed. All right, going down to reports. Talking Leaves Job Corps, Career Services, Diane Kelly.
Well, congratulations, Mr. Chair.
Well, thank you, Miss Diane. Appreciate that.
It was good seeing somebody young up there. Aren't you the youngest council member?
I'm under 40.
All right, okay. Well, I just want to say congratulations.
Thank you, Diane.
But she
All
got
right.
these elderly people.
Me, I'm elderly. Okay, the Job Corps, we received notification last week from our contract officer, that our contract has been extended. See, we're in the process of going through our 5-year cycle for our contract, and because they froze several of the centers during February through the first part of June, they're behind schedule. So they hope to have that out sometime maybe in the next month or two. But they sent that because they have to notify us that it's been extended so that we can keep spending. Our traffic report is a handout that was supposed to have been in your report. I gave that to Shelley a few minutes ago. It just shows you the amount of people. I see one on the table over there. That just gives you an idea of the traffic that's going through our offices. And this is a conglomerate total from all of our field offices. We will also be shutting down for day work on September the 26th and reopen on Monday, October the 7th. We do this every year at the end of the fiscal year, tribal fiscal year. We have to count every card that we have out there and make sure that those numbers go over into the new fiscal year. And if there's some that haven't been used, we'll be able to audit those. And then we also have to do our ISAs and make sure that they have been filed and that they're all complete, because all the originals have to be here in the main office. So all the counselors are busy working on that. We have a new policy regarding day training and GEDs. And this came about as a result of some of our day training people who were actually taking time out to go and go to classes on their own, and some of them were going on their lunch hour. And what we were trying to do is not to spend our day training for GED, because we had a lot of people that were going over there and just wasting time and not actually doing anything. So what we did is we came out with a policy that we would allow them 2 hours on either a Monday and a Wednesday or a Tuesday and a Thursday, where they could go to classes for at least 2 hours of that work day if they were working on their GED and they were showing progress and were making a commitment. And we were asking for the GED instructors to provide reports back to the counselors, and they're supposed to be working with them back and forth. And if those clients are over there, they're actually in the process of getting and obtaining their GED, then we would allow them to go over there for 4 hours, and we'd pay them for the 4 hours that they were in training. So that policy will be coming out to you. The testing sites are up and running in Tahlequah and in Stillwell, and these have been certified by the state. They're glass partitions, and the instructor has to stay on this side of the glass partition and watch them, and they're in cubicles, so they'll actually have their back and they'll be up against the wall. And this was the state mandate. And all of the tuition rates for GED testing has gone up considerable. So if you hear anybody complaining and griping, we work with them the first round, and then after that, it's on them. Voc Rehab, Brenda Fitzgerald is still out. She's recuperating from her surgery. She's scheduled to be back at work next Monday. Not really sure, whether she's going to have to forego any more tests or series of surgeries or anything, but she'll let us know. Job fair scheduled the latter part of the month. We've been working with C&B, Bob Thomas and his team on the transition with the Katua gaming people. And it was reported last week that the 19 that went through their, or 19 or 20 that went through their training, all of them were placed within Fort Gibson and Tahlequah, so we didn't actually have to transport them to Fort Gibson. And that was the only ones that actually went through the training. There was others that came, but I think some of them decided just to draw their unemployment, or they had other options. Working with Scott Fry at Mid-America Industrial Park. He's with OSU Altmulgee. He's going to be scheduling 1 or 2 days for my counselors to come up, and we're going to go through a series of all the training that he has there in the industrial park. Then they're going to arrange for tours for all my counselors to go through some of the manufacturing companies there in the park. So we're working on this to happen sometime this month or next month. Let you know, Janice, if you'd like to go. Also, Jan Nichols, my counselor at Pryor, I guess she doesn't feel like she's being commended, but she's one of my seasoned counselors, and I really have a need for somebody to be a point in my Claremore office, because that's where all of our referrals are going to the Hard Rock. We put about 20-something a week over there, and we've got a lot of people coming in, and we've got to screen those, and we have to do a 16-page gaming application. Jan is going to be relocating over to Claremore, but she'll be in Pryor 1 or 2 days as needed. Gwen Shotpouch will be working out of the Pryor office, and she will be working with Kenna Hogner, who is working up there, and then we also have John Stroud, who works out of there, but he will be covering Bonita. We're also, for you, Councilman Lay, you were asking me about Bartlesville. We're in the process of trying to identify a day worker or a work experience person that can work for us out of the Bartlesville area. And then we don't have space and no water. We just have to use the clinic or the conference room there. So there will be field days established. John's working on that right now. And Vicki Crowder, who works the J office, will also be working out of Bonita 1 day a week from the vocational end. So when we get those schedules worked up this week, I'll send them out to you. I want to remind everybody about the National Congress of American Indians that will be at the Tulsa Convention Center, October 13th through the 18th. This is the 70th annual convention, and that Deputy Chief Crittenton will be running for his position again this year, and then George Tiger, who is Chief of the Creeks, will be running for president. And I'm serving as the local planning coordinator, working with the NCAI office and all of the different tribes that are working on various aspects of the convention. And I would remind everybody, I sent out a flyer to Gail Shelley to let y'all know that early registration, I think, ends the 23rd or the 25th, and if you're going to go, you need to get your registration in now. And then if you wait till after that date, then you'll pay a little bit more, considerably more. So a lot of us that are going up from Cherokee Nation are staying at the Hard Rock Hotel, and then we'll just go over by shuttle to the DoubleTree for events. But mostly the convention center is where everything will be taking place in the daytime. And we're hosting the welcome reception on Sunday night. Wanted to make sure that you knew that and that you all came up for that. And then the cultural event on Wednesday, a lot of the tribes are working on that. And we're hosting the reception for that. And I believe we're also working on the elders luncheon as well. Don't know the agenda. They haven't got that put together yet, but just kind of giving y'all a heads up on some of the things that we're doing. Any questions?
Councilman Buzzer?
Diane, I'm just curious about some of our day work people. Do you find any resistance from any of the participants about getting GED? They absolutely do not want to do that?
We have had, we've had some of them who we have worked with them to go over there, and after they got into the class, sometimes they would sleep or they were not attending, and we actually told them that that was part of the reason why we put them in the program, because they needed to get this so they could, you know, get a good job. And for those that are not willing to put their best foot forward, and we help them, they help us to try to get them out there where they can be employable. Well, those are the ones that we're running through the review committee. And we're hoping that by this new policy, if we allow them 2 hours, at least 4 hours a week, maybe some of them will go and obtain their GED while they're in work transition.
Because I know some of them probably don't want to do it, and I'm wondering what we're going to do.
Well,
We've got it May somewhere between 5.
Well, we talked about some of the day workers that, I think there was an incident out here this morning where they think every year we owe them being on the program for so many weeks, and we see them every year. And for those, we have been trying to work with them and trying to get them out there on referrals for jobs. And for those individuals that we're referring out and they obtain jobs and they just up and quit them to come back to get on the day program, we're not putting them back on there.
Well, I agree. I totally support these, and I don't think it's right that they would come back year after year after year and telling us that we owe them those weeks. So I agree. I think we need to track down and get some points across. And I have a follow-up question too, and you may not know this answer, and you might, but on those 19 to 20 that went through Fort Gibson and Telequa, did they have to go through a licensing procedure again?
Yes, C&B set up a series of workshops for them, which is part of their orientation that they do for any new employee who comes to work for us at our casino. And the first day, I think there was around 30, and I think some of them tapered off. And when Bob and Vivian would report every day, they'd say, well, we've got so many today. And as of last Monday, they had exactly 20. And 2 of them were in surveillance, and the other 18 were workers out on the floor. And Bob told me Friday, he said this was a very good group of people. They stuck with the whole thing. They were very interested. They seemed very receptive. And I observed up here, we went up to eat over the weekend, and some of the workers that are working up there said they were just very happy to be able to have a job, and they liked what they were doing, and they seemed real happy, the ones I talked to that I knew.
Thank you. Thank you.
Councilman Byrd?
Yes, Don, would you make sure that our local representatives are invited and somehow part of NCAI? I think we have an opportunity here to make sure we keep people like our local state reps and our congressional people, Tom Cole, Mark Wayne Mullen, our state reps. We need to keep them involved in this. And if we're having culture events or receptions or so forth, make sure they're in the loop on this and they're invited. Would
Okay,
you please?
I will. Marilyn Craig from the Catuas was working with all of the letters for those elected officials and their pictures for our booklet. And then Lisa Trice Turtle and Christina Goodvoice are the 2 that are working with the press that are trying to get certain TV stations for certain ones to go on there from the NCAI.
Yeah.
So they're working on that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councilman Byrd? Any other questions? All right, Diana, good report.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, next, Executive Director's report, Dr. Gloria Sly.
Good afternoon. It's an honor to be here. Congratulations to you, Chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Sly.
That's such a wonderful acknowledgement of your skills and abilities.
Thank you.
I have, through the motor vehicle tax, y'all have authorized, the legislation authorized a teacher institute and some staff development for our public school teachers. We held a teacher institute at the end of July and had over 60 teachers to participate. We worked hard at recruitment, but anyway, we have more things out there. We're giving you one of the bags, each of you. They're up there with Ms. Shelley. She'll distribute them. And inside the bag, I've included 2 real important documents for those of you who might need a reminder of the programs within Cherokee Nation Education Services. This is a broad overview of what we do. It's not in depth. If you have more questions, just give us a call. And our managers are also listed. Also included is the evaluation summary and number of schools, number of teachers from each school that attended the institute. Also in there are some new coloring books that we used this summer that are in Cherokee. And so we used them during summer camp and everything. They're finished up in May, giving you a copy of 2 different ones. And then, of course, a package of crayons to color with. So, and our favorite pen, we have the crayons, but you know, our pen has the pull-out syllabary thing on it. So this is, people come in demanding these during holiday. We didn't have any, so they went searching through our on our desk for them. So it's like, okay. But we're going to try to have plenty of them next year. So we have each of these for you to let you also make you aware of some of the things that we've accomplished and completed this year. So you have my report or our report. If there are any other questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Councilman Byrd?
Yes, and Dr. Sly, would you check into something? Probably just here in Cherokee County, we have, I say anywhere from 500 to maybe 700 teachers, tribal members that are on our teacher retirement in the state. They've always talked about trying to put the teacher retirement with the other state retirees, other departments, whatever they may be. And we're opposed to that. Why would we, you know, I've got myself, I've only got 15 years in, but I know we have a lot of teachers out there that have put an enormous amount of hours into that. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, would you look at drafting a resolution for us? And I want to present it to this committee that we are opposed to that move here as a tribe.
Okay. Certainly will.
Thank you, Councilman Byrd.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman.
Councilman Byrd, is that where they're trying to combine all of the commissions on a state level? And
Yes.
put the teachers in there
With all-
along with the,
Yes,
all other retirement programs?
yes.
Okay. We really need to stay on top of that because they moved towards that last year, and I know of a number of teachers that discussed it with me. They are not for this.
No, we would have a big we would have a major impact in the 14 county area. And our local rep, Mike Brown, has been very supportive of that fight. So, and I'm sure the other reps would be as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Speaker. Any other questions or comments? All right, Dr. Sly, good report. Appreciate you.
Okay, thank you. Also, Ms. Thompson is on travel this afternoon, and she said that she asked me to ask you if there are any questions about her report.
All right.
And I will relay those to her.
Any questions for Ms. Thompson's report? Seeing none. All right. So we'll go.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Sly. All right, from Sequoia Schools, Superintendent Leroy Qualls.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and congratulations. Good afternoon, Council. On the report is a little over a week old, so the update on the dorm number of students, there's 122 there. We've increased to 8th grade is the same. Our softball team was ranked number 1 in Class 3A in Oklahoma for the 3rd straight week. Softball, Lady Indians Sequoia Lady Indians volleyball is 22-4, so they've lost since this was typed up, and they're currently ranked number 4 in their class in Oklahoma. Mrs. Brandt, who's sponsor of the student blood drive, has taken some students last week to an awards banquet in Tulsa, and they were awarded $500 for the second place finish in the medium school class. There being a large school class, medium school class, and a small school class. And last year I went, and it was at Jinx Aquarium. It was really nice. Channel 23 was there. We've got a good sponsor and some good kids that do a good job every year, year in, year out, on the blood drive. Sequoia was represented in the National Holiday Parade by our marching band and new flag team. Both are directed by Mr. Sam Morris. Our cheerleading squad was in it, coached by Tara Shows. Our Hope Club Princess was on a float, and the sponsor of that is Miss Tanya Soap. And our 2 new activity buses were also in the parade. Our marching band is up to 46 this year. And from what I understand, they were somewhere around 6 or 7 kids the first year of existence. So you can see how the band has grown and improved throughout the years. And we really enjoy having the band there, and Mr. Morris does a wonderful job with them. Also this year we've got the new flag team, and it has 10 members in it already, and this is the first time that Sequoia's done that. They're excited about the new opportunities with the flag team. Our cheer squad had 2 members selected last summer as All-Americans, and that's a good honor. I understand there's a event for them in London if they choose to go, but they were selected by their peers. That's a great honor for our kids. I'm hoping you got the academic team schedules emailed to you, and the non-athletic events schedules emailed to you. Homecoming week activities begin September 30th through October the 4th. I've seen the agenda for that. The kids, the student council has come and presented a lot of good activities during that week. There's something going on every day. One of the big things for them that they enjoy is the Powder Puff football game. There's a John Wayne Day. There's other things that are involved that look to be a lot of fun. There's a Superhero Day. And we finish off that week by playing Keys, our neighborhood rival, for the homecoming football game. Now, at the last report that I gave, I mentioned us having new classes and curriculum at Sequoia. So I'm going to turn this over to Miss Rose in just a minute, our principal at Sequoia High School. But first, entertain any questions you might have on any of the things that I covered
Are there any questions for Mr. Qualls?
or have not covered.
Just a comment.
Barry?
I get various calls about students from Sequoia, so not all from Sequoia, but who have been selected to go represent the tribe, either to like People of People or out of state or a camp or various places, and it is good. How are we covering that? Because I get numerous calls, I know that you guys as well, and it's an honor to get selected, but I'd like to encourage that, you know, if one of my children gets selected to go somewhere and it's going to cost $3,000, I think we need to have these people at least raise some of that money. And I don't know if we have a policy in place for that, because I get various calls like that. I don't know if you guys do as well. There's all these selections of our, especially Native American people now. They get selected to go all these different places. They say, my kid's been selected to go to London, but they need $5,000.
That's the gist of it. There's kids that go to Australia to play football. There's kids that go to Hawaii for volleyball and basketball. One of my sons went to San Diego. I know where that money came from. We have to watch and be careful, especially on the tails of the OSSAA investigation last year, of what we do provide for kids.
Good point.
That's the first thing that we check out. We do offer our facilities if they want to use it for a fundraiser that could help kids. And the other way it has to go is through a sponsorship.
Okay.
You know, it'd have to go through a sponsorship, and I did the same thing. Some of you sitting in this room helped kids at Tahlequah when I was there. It had to go through a sponsorship. It has to go toward the team or the organization for kids to be benefited. One other thing that I can think of was, of course, we do not have Johnson O'Malley at Sequoia, but at Tahlequah I had it put in to our Johnson O'Malley when we have our May meeting for our line items, had that put in to be able to help kids go to national organizations or meetings or whatever, and we allowed $200 per participant. Well, that's not much money, and the slots were limited. I think 4 was about as many as we had, but at least it's something toward the money that they have to come up with. And some of the figures are very high. You know, London's got to be expensive. I know Australia's expensive. I know San Diego was. We as parents have to be ready to make that decision. We don't have to go, number one. Number two is we would like for them to have that educational opportunity. And as parents, we have to figure out a way for that to happen. And the third thing is, you know, fundraiser of some type, whether it's a school that can help or assist or the parents come up with something.
Maybe, Speaker, that we need to draft something up if they're wanting these sponsorships, because I've had an enormous amount of calls for these students for sponsorships to go on these trips.
There are a lot of those out there.
Yes. It's not all athletic, is it? It's
No.
just leadership, so forth. We want to help
Absolutely.
them, but I don't think we have anything in place. If they need 3,000, they need to raise so much.
Hey, Councilman, they have the Cherokee First speaker. Do they fund stuff like that?
$200 for an individual child's extracurricular activity.
Yeah.
And that's with them putting in so many hours of community service type hours.
That's what I always refer them to when I get these phone calls. And then, like I said, open up the facilities for fundraisers.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a big help. Or even getting with Gail and maybe sending an email throughout the Cherokee Nation saying there's going to be a fundraiser available at lunch today, eat taco dinner or something. I mean, I don't know if we can do that or not, but it's a good resource.
Thank you.
There has been tournaments requested and things of that sort in the past that could raise money, but we approved.
Yeah.
We just have to be careful with how, as a school, that we,
If If you go to an individual situation, you're just going to be inundated with requests. It won't just be from Sequoia. Every school has children that are going on special trips that are costing in the thousands of dollars. I don't know how honestly don't know how we solve that problem other than the individual Cherokee First small amount that we were giving out per person for extracurricular activities. That would come under a extracurricular. Now, granted, $200 is probably not much towards a $5,000 trip, but I don't know how we can. You will be inundated
Yes, we will.
with requests if we try to develop any sort of policy or any sort of program to do that. It's generally been done with fundraisers. And probably one of the reasons that it is being done with fundraisers is just what you mentioned. We have to be very careful about the athletic, providing funds on athletic trips because of rules that are in place for those individual athletes.
Correct, and even our band and our academic teams and things of that nature fall under the same scope with the OSSAA.
So if we provided money to Sequoia School, you still couldn't use it for those individual trips, could you?
It's
Without maybe being in a situation where you have crossed the line on certain rules.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not sure how we
I think right now we just,
solve that.
yeah.
All right, thank you. Council Lady Watts?
Thank you. I mean, I don't know if it's appropriate, but I know we're having the discussion around it, but I've had recent confusion about who's in charge of that youth grant program. And maybe it's time to review. See, I thought it was Ron Qualls as well, but they've been pushing them to Gail Miller in the middle of Tri-Council.
Huh.
So back on our shop. So maybe it's time to review that. 200, I don't see how we can go above 200 at this point because we already deplete that fund quickly at 200 in order to be fair to all citizens and equal. But maybe it's time to review to see if it needs to be done differently.
If you would defer to send it over here and let me. The
Council,
scary
like-
part of us taking that program under council is the requirement for the community service, and
I'm not advocating for that.
yeah,
But I'm just telling you what's been recent.
Yeah.
they've been coming here.
They have, the staff in Ron's office apparently or somewhere has been telling them to come to Gale.
Yeah, I've been getting
Yeah.
letters in my
I don't think we're
mailbox,
prepared to
for
take
these
that
requests
one.
as well. And I just send them down to Cherokee first, because, I mean, that's their department.
That's good, Alicia. Good job.
I can pass that along to that department, that's not one that we were considering to come here, because we would have to add several new staff members, just take care of that one program, and they're already set up there to take care of that program.
Yeah.
Yep.
And honestly, the money, we run out 3 or 4 times a year on that particular program, and that's just at the $200 amount. I don't know if we could add more money on top of the $200. It was originally set up to help a child buy a musical instrument, maybe help a child in, if they were in a karate activity, pay their way to the class. It was for any children that had extracurricular activities. But I think that we're kind of getting beyond our abilities here. If we go up to 500, that program's gonna cost us several $1 million.
Yeah.
So
I
y'all
know
might
the,
wanna
I
look
know
at
the
it for
Creek
next year.
Nation, they have a one-time $500 stipend, just one time for the whole career of the student. And, with us doing $200 annually, I think it's a good deal.
And I think we start at age 6, 9, 5, so they actually could apply 13 times. That's $2,600, so we're doing a lot better than
Creek Nation.
our counterparts, and also we're doing it on a much bigger scale, because they have a much smaller pool that they're drawing from for applicants.
Okay.
That's probably about all we're able to do right now.
All right. Thank you, Speaker. Council Frankie?
Mr. Qualls, I'd asked earlier about the drug testing policy. Has that been finalized? I had several questions on it last year from the school term. Has it been finalized?
Ms. Rose? Yes, it has. The AG's office has looked at it, and
Can we get a copy of that, please?
sure. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Councilor Harris. Councilman Garvin?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I get lots of calls from individuals inside the district, plus ones outside the district, still in Muskogee and that surrounding area. And I get a lot of referrals from Cherokee First, so it's kind of a circle, going around in a circle deal.
Passing the buck or what?
Oh, but if Cherokee First can't handle it, I guess they send them to me. And a lot of them are out of the district, so I don't know if they know that they need to stay in the district or not, I guess.
Yeah. Just keep comments. Thank you, Councilman Garvin.
Always refer them to Jack.
Yes, Speaker?
I would ask, I don't know who we need to get from Cherokee First, but I think we probably need to address the issue of referring them over to us when it is their program. So maybe we need a report from Cherokee First next time on that particular program.
Yeah.
Instead of doing it under Ron's time, let's have it come in under, because it fits more in this area, I think. Would the chair be willing to
Yeah, what's the procedure for requesting that report?
just call him up,
Okay. All right.
tell him you need for him to come down?
Okay, I'll do that. Any other questions or comments? All right. Mr. Qualls, I guess we'll appreciate that report. And I guess we got Ms. Rose.
Yes, and thank you, council, for all the work that you do for our young people. And without further ado, Ms. Rose, our high school principal.
Good afternoon. I just want to report on a couple of things that we have done as far as the curriculum is concerned. First of all, we have expanded the schedule at Sequoia. One of the things that was noticed by the administration last year was that because we are in a block schedule, we should be able to offer our students a variety of classes. In fact, more, in that from August to December, a student can earn a full credit. And so what I asked the faculty to do this last spring was to brainstorm and provide me with a list of classes that could be taught in a 9 weeks period in order to receive half credit. They came up with a whole plethora of choices for our students, and we have included in the schedule at this time Native American storytelling, performing arts, digital citizenship, Zumba, Cherokee History 1 and 2. Because Sequoia is different from a public school, we do require that they get 2 full credits of a Native American class. And we're only offering 3 courses prior to this year. One was Native American History, the other was Cherokee, the Cherokee language, and then the third was Native American art. And so we have increased the schedule in that aspect for those students. Junior Achievement and Princeton Review ACT Prep, and I want to talk about that particular class here in just a little bit, but it is a 9 weeks course. Criminal Law, Street Law, Chorus 1 and 2, Theater Appreciation, Musical Theater, Humanities 1 and 2, which will also count as an art credit for all of our students, Dance Fit, Gothic Literature, Poetry, Reading and Writing, and then Robotics A and B, so that we could offer more with Dr. Cole on our faculty. We can offer more students, to get their toes wet in the robotics program and hopefully get them excited about engineering and different things of that nature. Now, I do want to talk a little bit more about Junior Achievement and Princeton Review. Another thing that was noticed by the administration was that we would like to raise our ACT scores at Sequoia. Now, before we came on board, we were testing the students as many times as they wanted to take the test. All they had to do was fill out the application, and then Sequoia would pay for that. Now, my view along those lines would be that if you have a freshman that is very with it as far as algebra is concerned, great, let's give them that experience. However, with higher education being the cost that it is, I want to prepare them for that ACT before they actually take that ACT. In that, with the Princeton Review, and incidentally, we now have 4 certified faculty members that are certified to teach the Princeton Review. We have 1 teacher that is teaching a Junior Achievement / Princeton Review ACT prep class in a 9-week period. We are requiring at Sequoia that students either A, have finished Algebra 2 and completed this ACT review class before we pay for their ACT, or on their plan test have made a certain score if they are a freshman and have not taken Algebra 2 and this Princeton Review ACT prep class, then we will pay for it that way. The reason behind that is because and I've visited with Princeton Review about this, Jay Rosner, anyway, if you allow a student just to take it as many times as they want, sometimes the mentality is, well, I can take it this time, I don't have to do very well on it because I can always take it again the next time. So number 1, we haven't prepared them, and number 2, we don't make it we don't help them understand that this needs to count. In fact, it is Princeton Review's view that a student should not have to take the ACT test more than twice to get the score that they're looking for. I will say this, though, depending on how much the student takes from the training or the class, they look at a 4-point gain in their ACT scores, which can mean a whole lot of different things as far as money is concerned when they're looking at higher education. So, that being said, we are offering it 3 times a day. We're about halfway through our semester at Sequoia because we're in the block schedule. And so Mrs. Downing is the teacher of that class, and so she will get a whole nother group of students. Right now she has 57 students. So come October, 57 students will be ready to take their ACT. Now, some of those students have already taken it, so it will be interesting to look at the data to see the gain, number one, but also with the Princeton review, those students are actually tested 3 times, 3 practice tests. They actually get to see those scores using the techniques that are provided in that review process before they take the actual legitimate ACT. So with the Princeton review, they're getting practice. They get to see their score in each of the sub areas so that they can work on either specific things in those areas or if they need, to up it in all of the testing areas. So I'm very excited about that and that we are able to offer that to our students this time. I can hardly wait to look at the data on that. But that, as far as the class schedule is concerned, that's what we're doing at Sequoia. I would also share with you that right now, as we speak, we are in our first day of NWEA MAP or MAP testing. This testing venue is provided through the BIE for Common Core measures. As you all know, Common Core testing will come and is mandatory next year. As an administrator and my faculty are all on board when I say that, everybody's going to be concerned about those test scores. The MAP test will provide useful, instructionally relevant, and reliable data that will help inform instructional practices, gain valuable insights to the students' college readiness. We are testing in 4 areas: viewing grade, independent academic growth, and providing a more well-rounded view of student achievement and growth should our Common Core summative assessments show proficiency level drops. In other words, they'll be tested now, they'll be tested right before Christmas, so we can look at gains, and then they will also be tested in April, again, so that we can look at gains and also gauge, as far as our curriculum is concerned, what we need to change and maybe what we need to hit harder.
Ms. Rose?
Yes, sir.
So, I'm an educator at Muskogee, and you guys are falling under 2 different realms, the BIE and then your state testing.
Yes, sir.
How many times are we testing these kids? Are we testing them to death, or?
Well, I'm glad that you asked that because we also were using AccuSess last year when we initially looked, or when the BIE initially looked at the MAP testing for us. But we have foregone the AccuSess because one other thing that we did as far as the schedule is concerned is we have Achieve 3000. So I have all of my certified personnel that have 10 to 12 students. They will have those 10 to 12 students. They see them every single day of this year. They are to be on the Achieve 3000, which is a Lexile reading program. And the students are to shoot between 70 and 75%. The reason we have that is so that it will help with the Lexile gains for Common Core, because everyone has said that as soon as the Common Core tests come out, students are going to be 2 grade levels below where they're supposed to be. I'm not excited about that.
How many times? So, how many benchmarks are we doing?
We're doing,
You said 2?
Well, yes, we have an initial, then we have one in December, and then we have one in April, and that's the MAP.
Okay.
Now, because we are on block schedule, we also have to do EOIs, and so we will test in December for those classes that are EOI tested classes: Algebra 1, English 2, English 3, Biology 1, U.S. History, Algebra 2, and Geometry. So we'll have 7 tests in December for those students enrolled in those classes, and then again in May for those students again enrolled in those classes.
Okay. All right.
But
Thanks,
as far as any other assessments, just 3 times.
3 times. Okay. Ms. Rose, I'm really impressed with what you guys are doing at Sequoia.
Thank you.
I know Mr. Qualls is visiting with me about increasing y'all's medical. You guys have like a medical club?
Medical Careers Club, yes, sir.
Yeah. And talked about getting some biomedical curriculum put into y'all's school, and I think that's great. You guys are doing a great job. You guys are ahead of the game, and you guys are the model school that other schools in the state are looking up to. I know I work at a 6A school, and we're always looking at Sequoia, and there's other schools looking at Sequoia. So I appreciate you guys being a light.
Absolutely.
Councilman Byrd?
I'm just glad that you're addressing how we can improve the testing there, Ms. Rose. I think you're doing a good job, and I'm excited to see how we're going to come out on this new assessment that you're talking about.
Me too.
Yes. One more thing. And maybe this is not your area, but you could look into it for me. The immersion classes. We're getting ready to go into an area here. I don't know how long we've had immersion now. 6, 7 years? 6. When those kids begin to start taking those state standardized tests, I'm very anxious to see how they're going to fare in some of those classes, like the core class, like English. I'm going to see if we're staying up with the other groups out there. I myself, being a Cherokee speaker first and learning English at school, I'm going to see how this doing differently is how it's going to. Is it helping our kids? Are we ahead of the game? Are we staying at the same level as the other other kids taking the state standardized test? I just want to see some data here in about, I'm going to give about 6 months, about before the holidays. I'd like to see some data and see where we are.
And if I could just give my personal opinion, once again, my personal opinion, as far as 3rd grade testing is concerned, I would share this with you. People in public education are, and by people I'm talking about faculty, so teachers, educators, administrators, curriculum developers, are concerned, particularly with this year, because if a 3rd grader does not pass their reading assessment, they will be retained. There is absolutely no way you can opt out of that as a parent or a student.
Yes.
Now, that being said, I don't, again, please, this is my personal opinion.
Yes.
I do not know how we can look at the data that our 3rd grade immersion students are going to be tested on if we have English-speaking educators that are concerned about it and the number of students that are going to be retained. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
And so with that being said, I just have to, studies and research has shown that, I can tell you right now, people that play instruments, people that speak other languages, and by that I mean 2 and sometimes 3 different languages, because they are utilizing their brain in a greater capacity than those that are just speakers of one language, it will eventually show up in the data that they are either here or above where students that are just speaking one language are. I don't know that our data will show that in the 3rd grade. I don't.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Councilman Byrd.
But on a note that I'm glad that you asked about that, I want to just whet your appetites just a little bit, and you're going to get to know more about this next month. We just received an award letter for a 3-year grant, the A&A grant of almost $900,000 targeted to curriculum in Cherokee language for both the elementary and the high school. I'm pretty excited about that.
Congratulations.
Because it will increase parental participation at the elementary level, which I'm very concerned about as far as language spoken. Again, personal opinion, if you only get the Cherokee language at school, I'm not sure how successful we're going to be in not allowing our language to die. In that conversational Cherokee, I'm not sure how much conversational Cherokee they're learning. Does that make sense? And then But also this grant will include developing a resource center for Cherokee language materials and then also facilitating a smooth transition from the immersion to the high school. So we will be able to develop some curriculum specifically in Cherokee that we're able to carry on through the high school. Because right now we are unable to do that with the exception of Cherokee 1, 2, and the Cherokee history class. But it would be nice to be able to offer, science in Cherokee
Yes.
for those students that have had it since kindergarten.
Okay.
Very good.
We're running short on time. We'll just limit it to a few more. Councilman Garvin?
Yes. I think the test makers are doing a good job selling all these tests, and we're gonna have to be careful, or we're gonna test these kids to death. And I know there's a lot of duplication. If you can combine some of those, I think it'd help in a lot of different ways. Also, along with all this testing, how long has it been since the teachers have had a raise?
Since our teachers have had a raise?
Quite.
Since the last state teacher raise. So I think it's been, 6 years? I just saw that. Not
It's been a while.
7 years.
I think that's probably something we need to look at. We've been tested too. That would be
Yeah.
our test.
Something we gotta lobby to our representatives, elected. Council Lady Taylor?
I just want to comment on the Princeton review course that you're doing. I think that's an excellent thing to do because you're removing that mystery. You're showing them actual questions that they may encounter, and sometimes that's the biggest barrier to overcome is the way the questions are worded, and they're seeing actual test questions ahead of time, and so they're not going to be caught off guard.
And I think too, test anxiety for a lot of students when they first go in. And I was very impressed with our trainer. In that he said, this is what you have to do with your kids. Have them break down the question. We're going to be giving them specific strategies as far as, this question. And we had people that were English that, when we came to the math portion of the training, were a little bit petrified, but when it was over, they were like, man, I got this. This is incredible. So
Taking away that mystery and that fear. And I
yes,
think
ma'am.
Thank you, Council Lady Taylor. Is there any comments or questions? All right. Ms. Rose, appreciate you.
Thank you.
You guys keep up the great work. All right. Just due to shortage of time, Cherokee Nation Foundation, Jason Denny, would you mind if we just read your report? Sure. Okay. All right. Thank you. And Culture Tourism, Molly Jarvis, is there anything pressing you need to address this body?
One thing, if I may mention, just to get on your calendar.
Okay.
You can see from the report that we have a very active fall. The American Indian Alaska Native Tourism Association conference there is listed at Hard Rock, and the Cherokee Art Market. But one thing that's not on the report is a new event we have coming up in November 22nd and 23rd. You may want to mark your calendars. The National Museum of the American Indian in Washington, D.C. has a program where it will open its doors to tribal nations to tell their story, pretty much. And we are partnering with the Eastern Band and the United Katua Band, and we will be there during that weekend to tell the Cherokee story to all the visitors coming to NMAI that weekend. And that'll be done through exhibits, displays, storytelling, arts displays. We will be taking a group of about 10 people there to demonstrate and tell the Cherokee story, along with, like I said, Eastern Band and UKB. So that may be something you'd be interested in attending.
That's November
with us.
21st.
November 22nd and 23rd.
22nd, 23rd.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Molly. Councilman
Just a
Buzzer?
comment or a question.
Yes, sir.
I had never been to that museum until about 3 years ago. And I was kind of shocked to go through there and didn't see anything for the Cherokee Nation in there. Is there any plans to get?
Well, we think this might be a first step.
Okay.
So that this will, we've been there as well and seen the same thing. So we think this will be a big first step in putting the Cherokee story into the NMAI.
Thank you.
Yes, Councilman Baker.
Yes, just want to thank you, Molly, for furnishing the bus, Culture Tourism furnishing the bus for the Tri-Council tour last Wednesday.
Yeah, we have that well.
Appreciate it.
right, thanks. Is there any other comments or questions? All right, thank you, Mike.
Thank
Great
you, and we can
report.
send more information about this to Gail.
Yes, if you would.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. All right, is there any other business? No new business? Well, the next meeting is scheduled for Monday, October 14th at noon. And Council Lady Fulbright, you know what time we're going to open up for health? We got lunch back there.
Let's take 10, 15-minute break here.
Okay. Right here, entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Second. All those in favor? All right.